Have you ever felt like you've reached the end of your rope? Looked up to the sky in silence, while your heart cried out from within, "God, I can't take this anymore." Have you ever questioned why life feels so relentlessly hard, why everything seems to push against you, why the world appears indifferent to your pain? If so, then this message is meant for you. Have you ever had the feeling that no one really sees you? That you're surrounded by people, but have never felt more alone? You wake up, do what needs to be done, fulfill your responsibilities, smile so no one worries, yet deep inside, everything feels like it's falling apart. You feel like no one recognizes your struggles, your silent efforts, your hidden tears. And then the question comes, does anyone actually care about me? Is God really watching, or has he forgotten me too? The truth is, when the pain tightens its grip and the silence grows deafening, we start to believe the lie, that we're alone. But listen closely to what I'm about to tell you, because it can change everything. God sees you. Not in a vague or distant way. He doesn't see you as just one face in the crowd. He sees you, by name, in detail, through every single tear. There's a story in the Bible about a woman named Hagar. She was cast aside, humiliated, and sent away. She wandered in the wilderness with her son, no water, no destination, no one. She believed she was going to die. And honestly, who would care? She was just a servant, a foreigner, someone the world deemed worthless. But in God's eyes, she was seen. And in that moment, God called to her, comforted her, gave her direction and hope. The encounter moved Hagar so deeply that she gave God a name, El-Roi, the God who sees me. Can you grasp the weight of that? The God of the universe, the creator of all things, sees you. He sees you in the silence of your room. He sees you when your head touches the pillow and the tears come without warning. He sees you when you say you're fine, but inside you're breaking. How many times have you swallowed your tears because you thought no one would understand? How many dreams have you shelved because it felt like no one believed in you? How many times have you waited for someone to simply ask, "You okay?" And the question never came? Maybe you think no one notices your weariness. But God does. Maybe you feel no one understands the chaos inside you. But God does. Because he doesn't just look at the surface, he sees the heart. And he cares. I know, sometimes it feels like he's silent. But God's silence is not his absence. On the contrary, it's often in the quietest moments that he is closest. Have you ever noticed how a mother quietly leans over her sleeping baby? She watches lovingly, adjusts the blanket, stands guard over the slumber, not because she's absent, but because she's caring, tenderly, attentively. That's how God is with you. In the times you think he's disappeared, he's actually watching over you with a love so deep, it's beyond comprehension. And you know what's most beautiful in all of this? God doesn't just see you, he collects every tear. In Psalm 56, verse 8, it says, "You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle." Have you ever thought about that? Every tear you've cried matters to God. Not one was in vain. Not one went unnoticed. They are recorded, preserved, honored. So no, you're not invisible. You're not forgotten. You are deeply seen. Deeply loved. If today you feel like you're at the end of your strength, considering giving up, I want to challenge you to do something simple, yet incredibly powerful. For the next 7 days, take at least 3 minutes each day to pray. Just you and God. No fancy words. Just honesty. You might say something like, "God, I'm tired. I don't understand what's happening. But I want to believe that you still see me." Don't wait to feel something. Just speak. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when doubt is present. Faith doesn't come from force, it's born from surrender. And here's what might happen, even if nothing around you changes, something inside you will begin to shift. Because when we realize we are no longer invisible, we start to breathe again. Don't give up because you think no one sees you. Don't stop because you believe no one cares. The entire heavens care about you. And that's not just a comforting phrase. It's an eternal truth. One day, you'll look back and understand why you had to walk through this valley. And you'll realize that even when everyone else overlooked you, God was there. Watching. Loving. Holding you up in silence. That's why you're still standing. That's why you haven't fallen. The God who sees you is also the one who lifts you up. Have you ever asked yourself why you're facing all this? Why you? Why this weight, this silent pain, this lonely struggle? Maybe you've reached the point of wondering if your life still has meaning, if everything you've faced so far was pointless. But what if I told you that this pain, this crushing anguish, might be exactly what's shaping you? The Bible says in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. All things. Not just the happy moments. Not only the victories. But also the losses, the disappointments, the rejections, the betrayals, the deserts. You see, many times we think we're being crushed, but in truth, we're being shaped. And yes, it hurts. Of course it does. Growth hurts. Being refined is painful. But the pain you feel today could become the bridge to the purpose God has for your life tomorrow. Maybe you're asking, but how can something so painful bring anything good? The answer is both simple and deep. God doesn't waste pain. Every tear, every failure, every fall, He can turn it all into tools of healing, strength, and wisdom. And not just for you, but for others who will one day hear your story and find hope in it. Think about it. How many times have you been inspired by someone who overcame a tough battle? How many times has someone's testimony helped you hold on a little longer? Now imagine, what if your story becomes someone else's reason to keep going? Do you know Lauren Daigle? Today she's one of the most recognized Christian singers in the world. But what many don't know is that she spent years hidden, struggling with rejection, insecurities, and even illnesses that affected her voice, the very gift God gave her. She could have given up. And she nearly did. But it was in that dark, silent season that God began to reveal what was truly within her. The songs that now touch millions of hearts were born in the middle of her tears. She sang with a broken heart, and that's when people connected with the truth. God did that in her life. And He can do the same in yours. There's something deeply important you need to grasp. Your pain isn't meaningless. When you hand your pain over to God, it stops being just suffering and becomes a seed. A seed of something that will one day bloom. Perhaps right now, you feel completely lost. As though everything has lost its direction, its color, its sound. But still, deep down, there's something stirring. A quiet whisper, so soft you can barely hear it, yet it won't go away. It keeps telling you, don't give up yet. This isn't the end. That voice is God. And He wants to use you just as you are. With your scars. Your doubts. Your history. You don't need to be flawless to have purpose. In fact, it's often through your flaws that God shows just how perfect He is. If you can't yet make sense of everything you're going through, that's okay. We don't always understand while we're still in the midst of the storm. But one day, when you look back, you'll realize that this season was essential to bring you to where you were always meant to be. And what now feels like your end will reveal itself to be the beginning of something far greater. God is an expert at rewriting stories. He turns tears into dancing, grief into strength, defeat into testimony. He takes the shattered pieces of your life and creates something new, not a copy of what once was, but something better, stronger, deeper. And here's a challenge for you. For the next 14 days, set aside a few minutes each day to write. Write about what you're feeling. Your struggles. Your fears. But also write about what you still hope for. Your dreams. Your faith, even if it feels faint. You don't have to share it with anyone. Just record it. Because one day, those words might become the beginning of a book, a song, a message. Or simply, proof that you made it through. You're going to come out of this stronger. Wiser. More compassionate towards others' pain. More aware of how God is at work in your life. And one day, you'll meet someone walking the same path you once walked. You'll look into their eyes and say, I know how that feels. I've been there. But I made it. And so will you. And in that moment, you'll understand why you had to go through all of it. Your pain will be an answer to someone's prayer. And your suffering will become someone else's healing. So please, don't give up now. You're still in the process. And processes never last forever. What God has begun in you, He will bring to completion. And what seems like chaos today, will turn into purpose. But for that to happen, you must keep going. There are times when life simply shatters us. Unexpected turns, words that cut deep, losses we never imagined we'd have to face. Suddenly, everything we thought was certain crumbles before our eyes. And all that remains is silence. Pain. And that relentless thought, I can't bear this. But the truth is, behind every pain, there's something we can't see straight away. There's a strength being built quietly. A maturity being forged in the unseen. A future being shaped through the very things that feel like they're stopping you in your tracks. Do you know what God said to the Apostle Paul when he asked for his suffering to be taken away? My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That's in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. It means that when you feel weak, vulnerable, broken, that's when God has the most room to move in your life. It's in that place of complete dependence that you begin to realize your strength was never truly yours. It has always come from Him. Perhaps today you feel just like that, frozen in place by a deep sadness, suffocated by anxiety, haunted by guilt, gripped by a fear you can't even explain. And if you're honest with yourself, maybe you've already thought about giving up on a dream, a relationship, maybe even everything. But let me ask you something. How many times did you think you wouldn't make it, and yet, here you are? How many moments felt like the end, but you kept going anyway? If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you still holds on. Even wounded, even exhausted, something still beats within you. And that alone is proof that you're stronger than you think. But even more than that, God hasn't brought you this far just to leave you halfway. He doesn't waste pain. He turns weaknesses into weapons. He transforms falls into lessons. He takes limitations and turns them into victories you never saw coming. Think about the story of Nick Vujicic. Born without arms and legs, he faced bullying, rejection, and humiliation from a young age. He reached the point of attempting to end his life. And who could blame him? How does one move forward under such intense physical, emotional, and social constraints? But Nick discovered in God a purpose greater than his pain. Instead of allowing his limitations to define him, he let faith lead him. Today, he's one of the world's most influential speakers. He's spoken to millions across dozens of countries. He's married, a father, and an inspiration to generations who are tempted to give up. All because, one day, he chose to keep going, even when everything told him to stop. Now let's come back to you. Have you been defining yourself by your limitations? By what didn't work out? By what you lost? By what you lack? You might say, but I don't have the strength, and do you know what I'd say to that? That's all right. You're not expected to be strong all the time. You just need to keep going. Because the strength that will carry you through isn't yours. It's God's grace. And that is more than enough. Faith doesn't mean never feeling weak. It means choosing to move forward even when you do. It means deciding to get up, even when you don't know how things will turn out. It means trusting, even while trembling. I want to challenge you with something. For the next 30 days, as soon as you wake up, say these words out loud, even if your voice is shaky. I am strong, because God is my strength. I can carry on, because He holds me up. Write it down. Stick it to your mirror, your door, your wall. Speak it every single day. Because the more you speak truth, the more it begins to live within you. And if along the way you fall short, that's okay too. God doesn't expect perfection. He asks for surrender. He doesn't require you to move fast. He simply wants you not to stop. Have you ever noticed how the roots of a tree grow in darkness? They go deep into the soil, hidden, silent, without applause, without recognition. But it's there, in the unseen, that strength is built. And when the storm arrives, only those with deep roots remain standing. What you're facing today might just be growing your roots. Maybe no one sees it. Maybe no one understands. But God sees. And He knows. And when you least expect it, something inside you will bloom. Not because the pain disappeared, but because you've learned how to grow through it. So don't stop now. What feels like it's paralyzing you today may very well be what strengthens you tomorrow. You are walking through a journey that is shaping you into someone unshakable. And one day, those who look at you will say, "I've no idea how he made it through, but he did." Or, "She faced so much, and still she overcame." And you'll respond with tears in your eyes and a gentle smile, "It was God. He held me when I thought I couldn't go on." Believe this, that day will come. Many give up just seconds before their breakthrough. They let go when the blessing is already on its way. They surrender right at the end of the pain, moments before the new beginning unfolds. And the greatest heartbreak in that is they'll never know what might have happened if they had waited just a little longer. Have you ever faced that moment when everything feels darker than usual? When your prayers feel like they bounce off the ceiling? When God's silence feels more like absence? That is often the very moment when something divine is being prepared. And that's exactly why the enemy whispers louder than ever, "Just give up." Because he knows, if you can just endure another day, another night, another heartbeat, the heavens will break open over your life. Scripture tells us this with powerful clarity in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. "Though the fig tree does not bud and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, yet I will rejoice in the Lord." It's as if the prophet is saying, even when everything falls apart, I will keep trusting. Can you say that today? Can you declare your faith, even when there isn't a single sign of change? Perhaps you're in that place where life seems to be losing all meaning. You pray, and nothing happens. You try, and it still goes wrong. You give your best, but the cycle keeps repeating. And then your heart shouts, "What's the point in continuing?" But listen carefully, it's in the darkness that seeds begin to grow. The soil must first cover the seed. Darkness is necessary. Silence is necessary. What looks like an ending is often the very beginning of something beautiful. That's how it works for us too. You might not see anything now, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. God works where eyes can't see. He moves behind the scenes. He's aligning situations, stirring hearts, creating connections where there once were only walls. But everything unfolds in His time, and His timing rarely matches ours. Consider the vine. It takes years before it bears fruit. While other plants bloom quickly, the vine seems stagnant. But when it finally produces, it does so with unstoppable strength. Its taste, its richness, its power, all of that is born from a long, unseen process. Is it possible that this is exactly what you're living through right now? A time of laying roots? A season of waiting, so that what's to come will be stronger than anything you ever imagined. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the electric light. When someone asked how he coped with so many failures, he answered, "I didn't fail. I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work." What if he had given up at the 999th try? The world might still be in darkness today. And what about you? How many more attempts can you make? How many more days are you willing to hold on? The truth is, you've come this far already. Why stop now? Many people live burdened by the regret of giving up too soon. Of letting go of dreams that were just about to become reality. Of allowing fear to speak louder than faith. But that doesn't have to be your story. Perhaps today, God is whispering this very thing to your heart: hold on just a little longer. Don't let go of my hand now. You're closer than you think. And I understand, waiting is never easy. Not having answers can feel like a heavy burden. But what gives you strength in the waiting is the unshakable truth that God never lies. He gave His word that He would be with you until the very end. He assured you that those who wait upon him will never be put to shame. And he always keeps his promises. So here's a challenge I'd like to offer you. For the next 21 days, each night before you go to sleep, close your eyes and speak from the depths of your heart, Lord, I choose to believe. Even when I can't see. Even when I don't understand. I trust in your timing. It doesn't matter what kind of day you've had. Make this a habit. You'll begin to notice something powerful stirring within you, your faith will grow stronger, your fears will begin to lose their grip, and hope will start to rise again. Because when we learn to wait on God, something extraordinary happens, we begin to win the battle even before the answer comes. Don't be quick to declare it's all over. God specializes in breathing life into what looks finished. He brought Lazarus back when everyone had already given up. He's brought dreams back to life. He's restored plans that seemed lost. And he can do the same in your life. You'll still experience things beyond your imagination. You'll smile again over the very things that make you cry today. You'll look back on this season and call it the turning point of your journey. But for that to happen, you must choose to stand. Even if you're weary. Even if your knees are trembling. Even if you're filled with questions. Stand firm. Because those who choose to believe without seeing are the very ones who witness the impossible unfold.